I have a lot of love for Professor Soyinka. I admire him, I respect him as a thinker, as a writer. I think everyone should read The Man Died, and Ake, his memoir, is beautiful, right? But at the same time, I disagree very strongly with him about this particular issue. And actually, because I respect Professor Soyinka so much, I went back and watched the interview. I had watched it when it aired initially, but I went back and watched it because I thought, am I missing something? And I think fascist is a really strong word. You know, fascist actually often makes me think of Mussolini's Italy. But I think we use it now, you know, sort of to address this kind of authoritarianism that's often populist and right-wing, you know, like in Hungary and even the former American president. And when you look at those situations, you can see why they have been termed fascist. And I did not see any reason that Mr. Datti Baba Ahmed's interview would have been termed fascist. You know, I think he was making a very strongly felt point about the elections. What he was saying, which again I thought seemed fairly reasonable, is that if our democracy is rooted in our constitution, and you then swear in a person who's been elected unconstitutionally, then you are in fact ending democracy. I think it's quite a reasonable position. Of course, we can argue about what that bit in the Constitution means, right? And I'm actually grateful for this whole election period because it's made me read things I probably never would have, such as the Nigerian Constitution, and also made me have quite a few suggestions for editing. But anyway, I think now we're talking about what does "and" mean. Right. So Mr. Datti Baba Ahmed is saying that it's, you know, 2/3 and the FCT, and that's separate. And it's a reasonable argument. You know, "and" is a conjunction. We use it in that context often to mean plural, right? So we say Aisha and Yemi are coming. And we don't say Aisha and Yemi is coming. That's because they're two separate things, two separate entities. And of course, the court will interpret, but I don't think it's unreasonable for educated Nigerians who can read and who know what the word "and" means to make their own interpretations and to argue it. And of course, the fact that the Labour Party is in court means that they do not believe that this election is constitutional. And so I just didn't quite see why it would be termed fascist. I mean, I think a charitable way of reading Professor Soyinka's comment is that Professor Soyinka himself, I think it's fair to say that he is not given to restraint in language in general. And so maybe that's where that word fascist came from. However, I have suggestions for what we could use fascist for. We could use fascist for INEC. Because as it is right now, many Nigerians feel deeply cheated by INEC, deeply disenfranchised by INEC. And there's an authoritarianism, which obviously is the basis of fascism, at the center of manipulating an election. Because what you're doing is you're gagging people, you're forcibly taking away their voice. That is fascist. Fascist is all of the violence that happened during the elections. Fascist is the way that some people remain silent about that violence. Fascist is a government that hasn't come out to address the very tangible and palpable discontent in this country. You know, I think that and when I say that we can use fascist for INEC, what I mean is the fact that, you know, so many of us, including myself, are convinced that this was not in any way technological glitch. I think that Professor Yakubu had an opportunity for heroism, and I think he wasted it spectacularly. Because he could very easily have become the hero of not just Nigerians, but Africa, because so many Africans are watching. They were so inspired by what happened before this election and the Obedient movement. And so, you know, I also think that the President Buhari, missed an opportunity for heroism, maybe his last chance at heroism, because Nigerians do not feel that he I think Nigerians felt before the elections that he meant well and meant
out of
to
time.
support credible elections. I don't think many Nigerians think that now.